Welcome to the Quality Engineering Onboarding for the Project Management Process Accelerator tool. This session is designed for quality leaders, quality engineering leads, and quality engineers who will be using the PMPA tool on a regular basis to accelerate their AI-enabled software delivery processes. In this session, we will demonstrate use of the PMPA tool from the perspective of having decomposed requirements already been provided by the product owner and groomed sprints available provided by the project manager. We will use these in the quality-focused AI-enabled workflows to generate test plans at the epic level and the sprint level, and to create tests at the epic level, at the sprint level, and at the individual work item level. We will also look at ways to explore and perform deep analysis of defects and stories that are having difficulties in the SDLC lifecycle, and then finally examine a way to export work items for use in AI-enabled tools. If you are interested in learning how to use the PMPA tool to develop robust requirements, please refer to the Product Manager's onboarding training session. If you are interested in learning how to use the PMPA tool to develop engineering-level documentation tasks, estimations, or technical subtasks, please refer to the engineering onboarding training session. Let's begin. On the left-hand side of the screen is a sample project in which the product owner has provided decomposed product requirements for a project estimation calculator. On the right-hand side of the screen is the PMPA application. Let's begin by logging into the PMPA application by providing a valid user login and password. The PMPA application is SOC 2 compliant and requires a multi-factor authentication token at every login. A successful login will land the user at the workflow dashboard. The workflow dashboard shows the user the full collection of AI-enabled workflows. Depending on the user role, workflows that are enabled will be in color. Those that are not will be grayed out and have a locked symbol next to them. First, we will examine the end user journey workflow. But before we continue, let us examine the Help and FAQ section on the left-hand side, which is available in every workflow screen. The Help and FAQ section on the left-hand side contains small and sometimes in-depth FAQ sections available specific to each workflow. The user can expand the section for more detailed information, and each FAQ has an upvote and downvote feature. Some of the FAQs include a how-to video, which is typically a 3-minute to 6-minute video. When clicked on by the user, will open up in a new separate window and will not disrupt the current window. For now, we will hide the Help and FAQ section. The Create User Journey allows the quality engineer to analyze a given epic and the business requirements contained within, which describes a feature, along with the related children user stories, and generate detailed end user journeys. This can help identify pain points in the described requirements or the end-to-end user flows, and provide guidance not just to the developer, but to the quality team member for testing or to support team members, or more importantly, to provide feedback to the requirements team or product owner specifically on gaps in the requirements that may have been missed as assumptions in the original requirements definition. In order to perform and execute this workflow, provide the project name and the epic ID. Run the quality check and execute the workflow. A new issue type called an end user journey will be created underneath the epic, which contains end user journey information. Analyze that end user journey and confirm with the product owner if the expectation of that journey are correct. If not, go back to the product owner, reassess the requirements, and run the workflow again to ensure that a correct end user journey is created. Return to the dashboard using the Back to Dashboard button. The next workflow that we will examine is the Create Sprint Test Plan workflow. Again, we will hide the Help and FAQ tool on the left-hand side. The Create Sprint Test Plan workflow allows the user to select a project, select the board for that project, select a current or future sprint only, not a past sprint, and then select items that have been groomed into that sprint. You must select at least one item from that sprint, run the quality checks, and execute the workflow. Performing this will generate a test plan specifically for the work items selected. This test plan can then be used to create tests specifically for that sprint. This test plan generated will be linked to and associated to that sprint. Click the Back to Dashboard to return to the dashboard. The next workflow we will analyze is create tests for a sprint test plan. Once you've created a sprint test plan, you want to create the tests for that sprint test plan. Analyze your test plan first before running this workflow. Ensure accuracy in your test plan, and then use this workflow to select your project, select your board, select your current or future sprint, which will load the available test plans. The previous created test plan will be loaded, and the associated issues to that test plan will also be loaded. Run your quality checks, and then execute the workflow. This workflow will generate the appropriate number of tests based on the directions in the test plan to meet the acceptance criteria of the work items, the test plan, and the parent epic. Use the Back to Dashboard to return to the dashboard screen. The next workflow we're going to analyze is the Create Test Plan for the epic feature. Use this workflow to select a project and then provide an epic ID. This workflow will gather the children for a specific epic and then allow you to choose which items, work items related to that epic for which you want to create a test plan. Note that it may not be appropriate to create test plans for all children items, such as subtasks. Select those items which it's appropriate, such as stories and possibly user journeys. Deselect where it is inappropriate. Execute the workflow to create a test plan for those selected items. Use the Back to Dashboard to return to the dashboard. Create Test from an epic feature test plan allows the user to find a test plan for a specific epic and then create the tests for that specific test plan and the stories related to that test plan. Run the execute workflow after those items have been gathered and you have confirmed those are the work items for which you want the tests to be created. Use the Back to Dashboard to return to the dashboard. The workflow Create Test Plan Deficiencies allows the user to select a project and an epic, and if there are any deficiencies associated to the epic, in the current example, we do not have any, but if there is a collection of deficiencies under an epic, you can select that epic and you can then selectively choose which deficiencies under that epic you would like to create a test plan for. Use the back to dashboard to return to the dashboard. You can use the create single work item test to create a test for a single work item by first selecting the project, then selecting the issue type, and providing both the parent epic ID and then the work item running the quality check. If test plans are found that are linked to that work item, in this case, there are 3 test plans associated to that user story already, the agent will take into account the test plans that already exist and generate the tests based on the information in those test plans, based on the requirements in the user story, as well as the scope of the functionality in the epic to ensure complete test coverage. Execute the workflow to generate the tests. Use the back to dashboard to return to the dashboard. Performing defect analysis can be useful for the quality engineer or the quality lead or the quality leadership member of the team, in which you can choose a project, the parent epic, the defect type, and the defect issue, and the AI engine will analyze the defect and provide guidance based on analysis of the contents on how to possibly reduce future incidents based on its analysis of that defect. A new document entity will be created underneath the parent epic with recommendations. Another analysis is a single defect deep analysis. Similar to the previous workflow, the single defect deep analysis provides more detailed analysis by looking at comments, comment history, change history, linked issues, user activity, and many more metadata items in the project management system that is not available to the user through the project management system, but is available in the database. This is a more in-depth and expensive view, takes longer, and provides more detailed analysis. Choose the project and the issue ID and execute the workflow. The same type of in-depth analysis can be done on a story item. The analysis by the AI engine is slightly different, and so a different workflow is used, but the same concept applies. It looks at comments, story, state transition, linked items, user contributions, time logs, associated bugs, defects, activities, other history elements that are not available to the user through the project management interface, and provides a detailed analysis of challenges that the story has encountered in its lifecycle. Choose the project, provide the ID, run the quality checks, and execute the workflow. A detailed report will be provided in a documentation entity. Use the back button to get to the dashboard. The final workflow that we'll look at today is export requirements. This workflow can be useful for the quality function in the organization by allowing the quality engineer to select a BVP and gather the children requirements from that BVP and selectively generate the requirements from that BVP to export to an AI generating tool. This may be necessary to use AI to generate, testing functions from an AI tool, or test validation scenarios, or to generate documentation outside of normal processes or part of AI generated processes, or to generate documentation in documentation tracking systems. So for example, if the quality engineer wanted to export the set of end user journeys in order to share with the product owner or other team members for the purposes of a meeting, a discussion, sign off, or other ceremony activities, they could easily export the end user journeys into a Word document. And then from there, they could have a discussion. They could easily mark up, change, modify, and then from those modifications, they could then easily copy and paste those changes back into the project management system, which they might find easier to do than working directly out of the project management system, which has lots of fields and the editor may not be as easy to use. That concludes our demonstration of the Project Management Process Accelerator for the quality member of the team. I hope you have found this useful, and I hope this helps you in your AI-enabled journey of software development. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, and have a great day.